Greetings fellow gamers, I'm the Soulsborne Seeker and today I'll be reviewing Death's Gambit Afterlife, a Metroidvania Souls-like title released by White Rabbit near the end of 2021 and available for PC, PS4, Nintendo Switch, as well as Xbox One. Death's Gambit Afterlife is a game that functions like an expansion as well as update to the original Death's Gambit, a highly anticipated title which was released in 2018 to mediocre reviews. The first game was plagued by bugs as well as issues with controls and combat, prompting the developers to take community feedback in order to fix everything, which was how Afterlife came to be. Thankfully, this update delivered by introducing more content, a more cohesive world, as well as much needed quality of life improvements in combat and gameplay. In doing that, it effectively redeemed its predecessor by offering an incredible experience for fans of the genre and showing the love and dedication the developers have for their game since they gave it for free to owners of the initial version. In Death's Gambit Afterlife, you step into the boots of Sorun, a young soldier of Vados who is part of one of numerous failed expeditions sent to the kingdom of Siradon in pursuit of the Source of Immortality, a fabled artifact coveted by kings and guarded by the terrifying Immortals, a group of powerful entities that are tasked with protecting it at any cost. Following the grim fate of the previous excursions, Sorun's group is slaughtered by one of the Guardians in a merciless attack that claims his life. However, instead of eternal peace, Sorun finds himself in a contract with Death, who brings him back to life to act as his warrior and tasks him with finding and destroying the Source of Immortality while killing all who oppose him in the process. Now immortal himself, Sorun embarks on a treacherous journey across a hostile land in order to complete Death's quest, while at the same time searching for his long-lost mother, who was part of a past expedition that ended in defeat. I have to admit I was pleasantly surprised by how cinematic Afterlife was. The story is revealed to you through almost fully voiced dialogue, as well as cutscenes that slowly provide fragments of the game's lore in a way that feels natural and seamless. Having been used to piecing together obscure item descriptions, environmental observations, and mumblings of side characters in order to make sense of the plot of many Souls-like games in the past, Death's Gambit Afterlife was a welcome change of pace in that regard for me. That's not to say that everything is spoon-fed to you or that the story is simplistic. On the contrary, it is quite engaging and even features a few plot twists that I didn't see coming, which were assisted by the fact that the game's direction is excellent, its world haunting, and its characters unique and complex. It also features a total of 3 different endings you can achieve depending on choices you make, thus rewarding additional playthroughs. Another aspect that the game truly delivers on is the fighting component. Afterlife features exciting battle sequences and tight controls that make each altercation a pleasure to go through. Fights can be fast and fluid, and sometimes require lightning reflexes to make sure you are able to emerge victorious instead of becoming another corpse in the pile. The fighting mechanics are clearly inspired by Dark Souls, featuring a stamina bar that you need to keep in mind in order to not find yourself open at the worst of times, as well as a collection of different classes to choose from at the beginning of the game, each with its advantages and disadvantages. For example, the Sentinel class wields powerful greatswords and delivers massive damage in exchange for speed, while the Wizard class has many different types of spells to choose from to deal with any situation, but is much less resilient in terms of health. Combat is further enhanced by the use of equipment. This includes a variety of weapons and armor you can find, craft, and upgrade, as well as many accessories and consumables that offer certain benefits that could mean the difference between life and death during dangerous situations. You are able to level up your character by resting at death idols, the equivalent of the Dark Souls campfires, where you decide which stat you will increase to make the next fight easier by spending essence, the game's main currency, which you obtain by defeating enemies. It is of note that dying in this game is less punishing than in other titles, since you are allowed to keep your essence and instead lose a Phoenix Bloom on death, the game's main healing item, which you can either go back and reclaim or simply pay to have returned to you through death idols, which also function like resurrection points. Afterlife also features a skill tree that allows you to unlock passive and active abilities in exchange for ability points that you earn from beating bosses and finding secrets, thus adding a new layer of tactical thinking on how you wish to approach your combat style. Speaking about bosses, that was another element of Afterlife that I thoroughly enjoyed. It's common knowledge that part of the excitement of playing a Souls-like game is to see what sort of vile monstrosities and powerful foes the world would throw your way, and I have to say that the diversity of big bads you go against here is astounding. Afterlife features a total of 20 bosses you can fight, 5 of which are new additions to this version. From small, fast enemies to massive creatures the size of a mountain, there is no shortage of surprises when it comes to the adversaries you will have to overcome in order to reach the end of the journey, and that is not only meant in relation to their appearance. Each boss fight is like its own puzzle, where you have to observe attack patterns and sequences in order to prevail, making each clash with these enemies unique and entertaining, as some of their special attacks can be phantasmagorical and arena-altering. To top it all off, once a boss is defeated, you have the option to fight it in heroic mode, which results in a much more challenging version of it, featuring stronger attacks and new patterns that you need to be wary of. Now, as great as the bosses may be, they are not enough to hold interest unless they also inhabit an equally impressive world, and thankfully, Death's Gambit Afterlife takes place in one of the most vivid and fleshed out settings I've seen in a game of the genre. Siradon is composed of a variety of different biomes, featuring forgotten mossy ruins, snowy tundras, burning caverns, dark castles, large cities, as well as an underground complex straight out of a science fiction story, just to name a few, making the exploration of the realm a fun endeavor that doesn't get stale. Each biome is also home to a variety of different secrets that are just waiting to be found, most of which are only accessible after you have obtained certain items or abilities, making backtracking a must if you want to see everything the realm has to offer. Helping to make the various surroundings more compelling is the game's presentation and aesthetics. Afterlife is designed with a highly detailed, pixelated art style featuring lush colors that truly breathe life into every nook and cranny of the world, making it a living thing that is as much part of the story as the intricately crafted characters themselves. Add to all this the sublime musical score of wonderful orchestral pieces and poignant piano sequences, and you end up with an immersive experience no fan of the genre should miss. The only sore spot I came across in relation to the game had to do with a specific element of its story that I will not spoil for you, but I'll just say that there were certain parts of the plot that became a bit too meta for my tastes, though I guess some people may find those parts to be interesting and adding to the title's themes of existential meaning and control over one's fate. For me they were a bit jarring and felt kind of out of place, but I'll let you draw your own conclusions. You'll know them when you see them. Overall, I had a blast playing Death's Gambit Afterlife from beginning to end. I loved the cinematic presentation and story complexity, I thoroughly enjoyed the combat, I was pleasantly surprised by the boss fights, and I couldn't get enough of the exploration of Siradon. If you're a fan of Metroidvania Souls-like games, this is a title that should not be missing from your library. With all of the content additions and quality of life improvements, as well as a new Game Plus component offering increased replayability, Death's Gambit Afterlife is an overhauled game that's more than worth the price of admission. My final verdict on Death's Gambit Afterlife is 9 out of 10. What did you think about Death's Gambit Afterlife? Have you played it yet? Do you agree with the points I mentioned, or do you see things differently? Let me know in the comments below, and please subscribe if you enjoyed this video. As always, thank you so much for watching. Soulsborne Seeker out!